Loki. Season two's finale finally under wraps. Was it good? Was it bad? Time will tell. All right, guys, Brent here back, also team member of Team Croaky, along with Man the Myth Marvel, Will Parker, where we cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, video games, and more. This time, Loki Season 2, we have Episode 6, Glorious Purpose, which again is a callback of a callback within another callback, but you get how that works. Marvel is once again trying to toot its own horn because, hey, remember, we were Marvel back in the day with Kevin Feige and how great we were. Let's call that back as many times as we can. The man who loves Marvel the most. Your opinion is the one people want to hear the most. Give it to him.
I mean, this episode definitely calls back to the first episode titled the same thing, Glorious Purpose. So again, we pick up where Loki left off of trying to figure out what's going on, all the time slipping. And I love that the setup went the way that it did. They set him up to really try to understand as much as possible in these last like three episodes. Like he really had to. I mean, pretty much the entire season, he had to learn, and that's what Loki's doing. He was learning the entire time, and he eventually learned that he needed more time, and his time slipping ability was able to give him more time. So again, just the constant resetting till he got it, to get it right. It's like, okay, we got to do this. We got to make it fast. We got to do this. It was great. And even when it got done, and I love they did this, it still didn't work. And it was like, holy crap, what happened? It took literal centuries for Loki to pull it all together and understand where he needed to go with this. Marvel did fantastic with season two. Like, I am beyond hype for how they built his character up so much and how the loom was put into it. It didn't have the ending that I necessarily expected or in the direction I was going, but it made sense for what it was because of how other things got set up in another Marvel property that I'll talk about later. But this whole thing with the loom and trying to get it together, like Marvel did fantastic with it. Like I'm very, very pleased.
And now I get to chime in and be the usual Mr. Negative that I always am when it comes to Marvel properties. And this time I have my work cut out for me because Tom Hiddleston and Jonathan Majors did a fantastic job throughout. I know Majors is going through a whole lot of stuff out in the scenes. Not even what I'm talking about. His acting performance throughout all of season 2, he nailed it. The way that he was taunting Loki, he was giving him the business, he was treating him as a lesser than all the way through the entirety of the process was brilliant. And Hiddleston, as per usual, gives us a phenomenal performance when the role only required at least adequate performance. But that still leaves me with the big meh feeling overall. And I know I'm going to be in the minority in this, but having the multiverse established, going through all these different steps, you've established that you can go in and out of any point in time, no matter what it is, how it is, and any different variable and any different scenario that you want, no matter what you can happen for any positive outcome, just to have the only outcome that potentially work is a direct callback for Endgame, where it's like, what is the only time that worked? It worked once. And now we have Loki, likely the only charismatic character we have left, now stuck in a perpetual chair to maintain timelines that at this moment in time we have subpar characters established or nothing established to try and make work. I'm at a bit of a loss that we'd have our only powerhouse character on the sidelines. And I know Marvel's going to have a couple entities moving forward to try and get everything reincorporated. I know Fantastic Four, I know X-Men, I know everything going on with Deadpool. But we have all these different possibilities, all these different scenarios just to have it be, I've stopped Kang. No, you didn't. You have put a beautiful band aid over the guy who literally has invented, perfected, and attained all the levels of greatness that Loki just spent the last few centuries getting up to snuff on. Kang is unavoidable. So now we have to have these two go head to head at some point in time and have things figured out because we all know Kang is not someone who's going to let you mess with his timeline, how things play out, and that he's not going to sit down for this. This is a band aid. At best, so many moments that we thought we were getting to a final crescendo just to be like, wait till next time. We've been waiting. We've been waiting for Marvel to give us that oomph punch that it once had. Overwhelming, meh.
No, I think Loki did exactly what he needed to do. Kang has taken several seats, and specifically, he who remains is still sitting in his seat. Okay, he's done. He was the one who was holding back all the other Kangs, which is fine, but he's the one who held them back. Which right now he was one of the most powerful Kangs that there was. So the fact that he has been dispatched, and now we have to deal with other variants. Yes, they're going to have different power sets and different things going on. That's fine, but Loki kind of facing off against he who remains in more or less a battle of wits and who can figure out how to work this, I think was very, very, fitting for Loki to be in the position that he's in. Loki has finally ascended and became a king. He's king for all time as far as I'm concerned. That's what I'm dubbing it. And with everything that he's done to set this up, he is now in control of the timeline. He is now more or less he who remains within the timeline, and he can control the branches as necessary to make sure that things are going appropriately. Loki understands life now and what's important about life. And I think, learning that lesson from Mobius early on, you know, that helps him navigate what he needs to do with the branches. He has them all maintained. He's pruning things that needed to be pruned. It looks like based off of thing, but he kind of set up everything, and the TVA is going to work in his stead. And I'm presumably they're going to be able to continue to work with Loki throughout the course of whatever else, because the TVA is back established to do what it needs to do. And they're, it's not the last time I'm pretty sure we're going to see Mobius, and I'm pretty sure that he will, kind of come back and forth with Loki as necessary. But the fact is that Loki became a king. He became a king in the fashion of Asgardian lore when he brought all the branches together. Again, they're called branches and everything. And what are branches part of? A tree. He literally recreated the world tree, more or less Yggdrasil, within the entire, using the sacred timeline as the base of everything. And all these branches are branching off of it. He literally created the tree out of it. And it's so fitting for him in the Asgardian culture. So now Yggdrasil, which was the tree of life, the world tree, all this thing controls all the timelines. It controls the world as we know it. So I think they did a fantastic job. I don't agree with you at all. Like I think that they did really good for setting this up. And, not going to give you spoilers with that, but I've already seen the Marvels, and there's some stuff in there that helps make a little bit more sense of where Marvel's going. So this ended how it needed to end, but it's definitely not a finite ending. They can do infinite amount of things, unintended, with this to make sure that the world can flourish as it needs to, and whatever timelines need to be present, they can be present. And now Marvel can work within those timelines with Loki's at the helm of making sure. And I mean, there's a chance that we could have another face off between Loki and another Kang at some point in time, but I think it's completely unnecessary. Loki has more or less bested he who remains with a sacrifice of himself instead of the options. He had the option. It was like, hey, break the loom and all out war, or kill Sylvie and protect what you can. He made his own option, his own choice to sacrifice himself to make sure that the timelines were in order and as much life was protected as possible. Complete 180 from Loki before. Like again, he's become more selfless, and now he is the timekeeper, and that's how he's going to remain, I guess, at this point because this sets up for him to be as great as he was always destined to be. His glorious purpose. This was his purpose. So Marvel did a fantastic job. Like it's great, and I want to see more of it. And if I don't see anything more from Loki, like I said, it's not going to hurt me because I know where he's at and what he's doing, more or less. That's why I said the TVA will still be in play, doing what it needs to do. And whether or not we're going to have a Loki season 3, hey, remains to be seen. I don't see why they could do a season 3, and literally it could be the TVA taking care of whatever it needs to take care of within. Like you can have it dropping in and out of Marvel timelines as necessary because again, several Kangs can take place at any point in time. You can drop a different Kang into a different realm or different reality universe, whatever, and have whoever fights. So if you got Fantastic Four fighting this Kang, you got X-Men fighting this Kang, you got you know whoever else, Avengers fighting this Kang, so like that. And as they're being taken care of, you can have the TVA come in once he's subdued and prune them from the timeline, and eventually just get rid of the Kangs. But you only got really the 3 to worry about. I mean, you got a bunch of other Kangs in the Army and Stadium, but there's only really 3 Kangs that were central to everything with Quantumania that were running around. I'll say 4 because again, the one that Ant-Man, and Wasp dispatched, he's not done yet. He's still around and he's still dangerous. So he's the one I'm more concerned about than the other 3. But again, those are the 4 Kangs that you only really need to worry about to deal with, and then the rest of the Kangs will follow suit and be dispatched accordingly. So yeah, I'm here.
And
I'm
then my question is, who will care? That's the thing. Kang
me.
has done a masterful job of performing his role. The Marvel fatigue, as stated in the Variety article, is high. So much so that people are even thinking about reuniting the old Avengers because we're at this stagnant point where people are just. There's been so much subpar content. Sure, you've given me a lot of it, and we thank you for it as a channel that creates content. You've given us a lot to talk about. But if you go through each and every show, overwhelmingly, there's a lot more bad than there's been good. Loki has shined bright. Falcon and Winter Soldier shine bright. WandaVision shine bright. Am I missing anything else that shined in a way that we need to talk about it? Because the rest of it feels Guardians is a movie.
I mean, it's fine. You can't worry about it. But it
That's
all
what we
ties
got.
together. That's the point I'm getting at. As this goes on, I said the movies are tying into the shows are tying into movies. Like I can't just sit here and talk about the shows when the movies and everything are tying into it. Like I understand Marvel is experimenting with the shows. So that again, the experiment process, honestly, I expected, 3 to 5 years of trial and error with the shows to figure out what works and what's been beneficial and stuff. Again, we're supposed to get another What If. Zombies was good. So that I enjoyed the What If. So that we might get another What If series because we've already got What If for Venom in the comics and stuff coming out with some other characters being, taken over by the symbiote. So depending on how Marvel wants to play it, they can what if the zombies with that. They can what if of various other things and give us those fun little stories outside the box. They want to continue doing stuff. Miss Marvel, the show was a setup for the character to introduce her. I like characters being even Echo. We got Echo coming for that. I like the shows introducing the characters because again, it gives us some time to get to know the character and stuff like that, and then you can bring them into the fold of the movies and really kind of flush out. Now we don't have to spend, too many, more origin movies or origin characters. Like some characters deserve origins. Like, hey, Blade, Blade didn't need an origin. He just like when Blade came in, Blade was established, and
Because
we
Blade
learned his
saved the
backstory about him.
MCU and everything
And
that we had.
he did fantastic with that freaking. But other characters that freaking you want to build up or do something is like it's like Hawkeye. Hawkeye was freaking great to introduce Kate Bishop and stuff. Is like cool. She was there. We got freaking that. We got Echo. We got freaking Kingpin brought to MCU. We got Daredevil freaking coming in the process and stuff with She-Hulk. So characters that need to be reintroduced into the MCU timeline, they're being pulled in different ways, and I'm happy with it. So I want Marvel to keep doing the shows and stuff. Just figure out what works and what doesn't, and then if it doesn't work and so like that, okay, She-Hulk. She-Hulk wasn't the best. We know that. So like that, but it established the character. So now we can utilize the character as necessary. Same thing with Miss Marvel. She's just been utilized in the Marvels. So it was like, all right, cool. We don't need a bunch more. We don't need backstories. We got her backstory. That's fine. Now we can just kind of run it however we need to run it without having to do anything else. So the shows work, even though they may be lackluster in some aspects and stuff. And for some people, I'm still enjoying them for what they are, for introducing new characters and taking chances, and making mistakes, getting messy. If you get the reference, you understand. You old like me. Like, it's good stuff. So I'll take it for what it is. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that they don't deserve critique. Yes, hey, if you're doing something wrong or we don't care for it, you're gonna hear about it. But at the same time, I still want them to continue to try to do stuff and figure out what works. Because they just, oh, the shows weren't working, people don't like the shows, and we're just going to stop doing them, just go back to the movies. Then I can deal with it if they just go back to the movies. But now I'm getting less Marvel content. I want more Marvel content. Marvel's got a plethora of things that they can bring and literally just run the next freaking 20 years of content with no issue whatsoever. That's what I want, and I'm here for it. And we just got to wait to see how they plan to space it out. So, but you can't. You're not really going to beat the the original saga, like the Infinity Saga. Like, you're not really going to beat that because that's like your baseline. But I expect you to kind of build up and try to do as best you can. Like, Kang should be pretty good. So at that freaking, at some point, I'm expecting Doctor Doom. There's rumors of Doctor Doom circulating. So that, like, are we going to get Doctor Doom? Is he going to come in? I would love to see him come in and just crush a Kang variant and be like, "No, you're in my house." That would be a great ending. Like, he tries to escape, so that he runs, and that while after fighting the Fantastic Four, and Doom just crushes him. It's like, nah, I run this. Now you got Fantastic Four and Doom and got some more powers because he done siphoned freaking one of the Kangs to do something. I can literally theory craft this all day, but I'm happy with the shows. I'm happy with stuff that's coming out, but I will critique it as heavily as it needs to be critiqued. And that's one of the reasons why I got you, because we don't always vibe all the time, and you can kind of get all that out for me.
I mean, I said one thing, and now you just went on a 10-minute diatribe, and I just got to sit here and look pretty.
Hey,
That's what we do. We don't always agree. That's the whole point. Sound off in the comments below. Team Will. I'm pointing in the wrong direction. Will's not over there. Will's over there. Team Will. Team Brent. By all means, be part of Team Geek Variants. Hit that lovely red subscribe button. I mean, you listen to us talk for 18 minutes, mostly him. But at the same time, we left our thoughts on the show. Let us know what you think below. See you in the next one.